Golden State Media Concepts presents the GSMC Classics series, with episodes of some of your favorites from a day gone by, a time gone by. Join us as we time travel to some of your classic favorites from yesteryear. The GSMC Podcast Network invites you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the GSMC Classics series on the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network.
Buck Rogers in the 25th century.
Buck Rogers is on the air, brought to you by the makers of Popsicle, Fudgicle, and Creamsicle, those delicious frozen confections on a stick. Now here's a message from the famous winner of the typical American boy contest, Popsicle Pete.
Hey, kids, you should see the camera I picked out for you as a popsicle present. A real movie camera. You can get it free. Just save bags from Popsicle, Fudgicle, or Creamsicle. You get lots of swell gifts for those bags. Hundreds of them. Flashlight, Buck Rogers rocket ship, tennis racket, wristwatch, beautiful dolls, swell jewelry. Just save bags from Popsicle, Creamsicle, or Fudgicle on a handy stick.
And when you're warm, isn't it great to have a big, cold, delicious Popsicle, Creamsicle, or Fudgicle? Boy, are they good, and do they last. They're good for you, too. Pure and nourishing, and wrapped in those valuable gift bags. The biggest nickel's worth you can get.
Get the free Popsicle gift list in your ice cream store. It's got a free coupon on it worth 10 bags.
And now for more of the thrilling adventures of Buck Rogers in the 25th century. In our last episode, you remember, Buck, Wilma, and Dr. Huer were at the Central Spaceport, getting ready to make a test flight in a rocket ship equipped with a new invention called the Gyrocosmic Relativator. But before they could board it, the huge craft took off right before their very noses. And as we pick up our story tonight, we find them there at the spaceport, standing where the ship was parked and trying to figure out who or what made it take off. Here we go, 500 years into the future. There goes our rocket ship.
I don't understand.
Look, who could have taken it?
Beyond me, Wilma.
And the new Gyrocosmic Relativator's on board.
Right. That's why it was able to take off so quickly.
Then whoever took it must have known about that relativator.
You're probably right, Wilma. But Black Barney is the only person I've told anything.
Dr. Huer.
Yes, sir?
That message that came in from Central Radio Bureau just before we came outside here to get into that ship.
Still at Kane and Ardela.
Oh.
Sure. If they just escaped from the municipal prison, the one thing they need most is a rocket ship. And those two wouldn't waste any time getting it.
You're right.
Yes, sir. They probably came right out here to the spaceport, saw our test ship standing there with nobody around us, and hopped right off on us.
Look there.
Huh?
They must have used one of those little air roadsters there to fly over here.
Unless they all belong to the workmen out here.
They certainly couldn't have walked out here in such a short time.
Well, come along anyway.
Well, where to, Doctor?
We'll take one of these little roadsters and go back to my laboratory.
Okay, come on.
You think there's some connection between this business of the stolen rocket ship and the report about the ransacking of your laboratory?
Exactly. Get in, Wilma.
Right.
Go ahead, Doctor. I'll take the controls.
Thank you. All ready, Buck?
Here we go.
Now, we may all be a little excited over the events of the past few minutes, but it's necessary that we take stock of the situation as calmly as possible and decide what we're going to do.
Good idea. The first thing that smacked of trouble was the call from Central Radio Bureau, saying someone had broken into your laboratory right after we'd left it.
Yes. And right on top of that came word of Kane and Ardela's escape.
Yes. Immediately afterward, our experimental rocket ship took off right in front of our faces.
Then it's easy enough to figure out. Kane and Ardela broke out of prison, ransacked your laboratory for whatever equipment they could get hold of, raced over to the spaceport, and made a quick takeoff.
Sounds logical enough to me.
I still don't see how they covered so much ground in such a short space of time.
All depends on how long they were free before they were missed, Doctor.
Yes. Well, we'll find out when we reach my laboratory if the rocket police are still there.
Right. But I wonder what happened to Black Barney. He and Willie were going to meet us at the spaceport.
Well, Willie, it looks like this new invention of Dr. Yours on this here new test ship don't work.
Yes, sir, Mr. Barney. I guess you're right, all right.
Sure. I got all the power on she'll take, and we ain't even begun to move yet.
What it was supposed to do was let us take off and be going 1,000 miles an hour right away, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, take a look out of the Matilla glass window and see if Lieutenant Wilmer and Captain Rogers and Dr. Ure is coming out of the spaceport office to get into this here thing.
Yes, sir.
Well, are they coming, Willie? Or did the big rocket blast scare them away? Well, what is it? What about it? Why don't you answer me?
Mr. Barney.
Willie, what's the matter? You look like you just saw a ghost.
Look out of the window, Mr. Barney.
Huh? Sure, Huh? Hey, Willie!
You're a couple of 100 miles below us.
But we didn't take off. You hear me? We didn't take off.
Must be Dr. Ewer's invention. That's what did it.
Oh, but it couldn't be on account of we didn't take off, I tell you. Yeah, that's what it is, sure.
Boy, that's wonderful. Certainly had me scared for a minute, though.
Yeah, me too. Why, Willie, you mustn't let a little thing like that scare you. And don't you see? What we're doing is making the first official drying-out trip of the first rocket ship that was ever equipped with this new gyro thing.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, and we're saving them all the trouble of having to try it out.
I thought you said you wanted to take off in it before they could, so there wouldn't be any danger for them.
Yeah, that's right. For me and you to try it out is all okay on account of if it didn't work and the whole place blew up, it wouldn't make no difference. But I wouldn't want Lieutenant Wilmer, Captain Rogers, or Dr. Ure to take no chances with something new like this. So that's why we done it.
Boy, certainly a great invention. How does it work?
Well, there's a lot of technical things about it I'm afraid you wouldn't understand, Willie.
Well, I can try to understand, Mr. Barney. Tell me.
Okay. Now, this here is a machine bolted down right here.
Uh-huh.
And the stuff on the side of it here is some kind of electric cells.
Photoelectric cells.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
But what are all these gears for?
Willie, that's what they call a sort of protono, hypnoto, deuterono, teleradio, and all that sort of stuff.
Huh?
You see, the gyro-Thomas stuff on the super neutron goes round the ultra-hyper thing that's connected with the physic elementary connection.
Well, I must say that whoever ransacked this laboratory of mine certainly made a good job of it.
Yes, but Dr. Hewer,
Yes, Wilma?
where are the rocket police? Why are they going to wait here for us?
Oh, here's your answer, Wilmer.
Yes?
What is it, Doctor?
A note from their captain. Here's...
Oh, Dr. Hewer. I've just received word of Kane Ardale break from municipal prison. Believe that to be a logical place for us to send our activities. Signed, Captain Barton. And to be honest with you, I'm glad that they aren't here.
Why do you say that, Doctor?
It'll be much easier for just the three of us to look around here and see what's been taken.
That's true. Well, where do we start?
Calling Dr.
That's Cosmic Radio.
It's like Barney calling.
I'll take it.
I wonder where he can be calling from.
Well, Barney, this is Dr. Hewer.
Calling Dr. Ure.
Well, yes, this is Dr. Hewer.
Well, Doctor, what do you think of me and Willie saving you folks a lot of risk and trouble, huh?
Where are you, Barney, and what are you doing?
Don't you know?
No, of course not.
Well, then guess. I dare you.
No, Barney, you tell me.
Why, Doctor, me and Willie's flying around up here in space trying out the new gyro thing of yours.
What?
Listen.
You mean you're in the test ship we had waiting for us at the spaceport?
Sure.
Well, but Barney, how...
Well, we figure the best way to keep you folks from risking yourselves by taking off with this new contraption was for us to do it.
Oh, thank goodness it wasn't Kane and Ardela.
Barney,
Yeah?
is everything all right? No trouble?
No, sir. The ship works fine. Of course, it took me and Willie a couple of minutes or two to get it all organized out.
How do you mean?
Well, when I first turned on the power, we didn't feel the ship moving under us. It was just the same thing as though we had the rocket power on, only we didn't have it on. Just like we was being held down by a big rope or stuff. But at the same time, we could hear the motors roaring.
Splendid. Then the new gyrocosmic relativator works perfectly.
Oh, good for you, Doctor.
Sure, Doctor, it works fine.
How about navigation with it? Any difference?
No, not a bit of difference, Doctor.
Well, then, even if you did deprive us of the privilege of making the first test with it, I'm mighty gratified to know the new gyrocosmic relativator works all right. And now... Yes?
Well, would you please kind of do me a personal favor?
What is it, Barney?
Will you please say the name of this thing over again?
Well, surely.
You see, I started explaining it all out to Willie here.
Yes.
And when I come to telling him its name, it kind of slipped my mind. You know how it is, Doctor. I always got so many important things to think about all the time that them little details kind of slipped my mind.
Poor old Bonnie.
So if you don't mind, would you say it for me just one more, please?
Barney, it's a gyrocosmic relativator.
You hear that, Willie?
Yes, sir. Gyrocosmic relativator.
That's it.
You see, Doctor, didn't I always tell you that my Willie was going to be a great man someday? And that proves it.
Well, now, Barney,
Yeah?
we're having a little trouble down here, and we're badly in need of that ship you're in.
No kidding, Doctor.
Yes. And here's what I want you to do.
Yeah?
Cut off the power right away.
Yes, sir. There. Power's off, Doctor.
Good. Now, just as soon as we've finished talking, face that ship you're in around and head back for Earth just as fast as you safely can. We'll be waiting for you at the Central Spaceport.
Okay, Doctor. We'll turn back on the power again and head back for Earth as fast as we can. But would you mind telling me what the trouble is?
Killer Kane.
Kane?
Yes. He and Ardela have escaped.
Say, that's awful.
That's why we need the rocket ship with the relevator.
Well, Doctor, we'll head right back again.
All right, Barney. Signing off.
Yes, sir, signing off. Hear that, Willie?
Yes, sir. Pretty serious, isn't it?
Of course it is. And I guess they don't only need the rocket ship down there.
Huh?
They probably need me, too. When people like Kane and Ardela get loose, Willie, there's going to be a lot of trouble.
Well, then, let's get started back to Earth.
Yes, sir. Hang on for power. Yes, sir. Everywhere they go, there's trouble.
I know it.
Killer Kane's dangerous. Very, very dangerous.
Yes, sir.
Why, if he was to see you coming at him, he'd like as not pull out a rocket pistol or a disintegrator and blow you. Where are you?
Oh, you aren't afraid of him, are you, Mr. Barney?
Oh, me?
Yes, sir.
Of course I ain't. Me afraid of Killer Kane. That's a good big joke, that is.
Well, Barney,
Huh?
I can't tell you how glad I am to know that.
Now, listen, you must have-
Exactly right,
No,
Willie.
don't be, huh?
Killer Kane. Well, with Kane right there aboard Black Barney's rocket ship, things don't look so good. But you're looking pretty good, Popsicle Pete. And where's that song you wrote?
Gosh, I can't think for all these people.
Oh, sure you can. Go ahead. They're all your pals.
All right, here goes. Popsicle, popsicle, fresh fruit ices on a stick. They're so good and they're so big. Popsicle, popsicle, save the bags and get a gift with popsicle.
Well, that was perfectly terrific, Pete. And everybody loves popsicles. Those great big fresh fruit ices on a handy stick. And the bags are just as good as money for wonderful free gifts. Popsicles are made fresh every day from fine, wholesome ingredients. Doesn't it make your mouth water just to think how good they taste in all those fresh fruit flavors and how long they last? The best, biggest nickels worth anywhere.
And don't forget, fellas and girls, save those bags from Popsicle, Fudgicle, and Creamsicle. And get those free presents. A camera, a wristwatch, jewelry, fishing tackle, hundreds of swell gifts. You'd better save bags every day.
Buck Rogers in the 25th century.
Buck Rogers is on the air. This program is brought to you by the makers of Popsicle, Fudgicle, and Creamsicle. Those delicious frozen confections on a stick. And now a message from the famous fellow who won the contest for the typical American boy, Popsicle Pete.
Hello, fellas and girls. Are you saving up bags for those exciting free presents I told you about? Gee, what wonderful gifts you get. Hundreds of them. Roller skates, telescope, movie camera, doll, bracelet, wallet, table tennis. That's only a few. Just save the bags from Popsicle, Fudgicle, and Creamsicle. Ask at your ice cream store for the free Popsicle gift list. It tells you where to send the bags you save and how many to send. You get a free coupon with it worth 10 bags. That'll get you started fine.
Yes, and here's an idea. Get Mom and Dad eating those wonderful confections, too. They're easy to eat on those handy sticks, and they're easy to digest. They're so pure and fresh and wholesome. And, oh, boy, so delicious. You'll get their bags, too, for those marvelous gifts.
Popsicle, Fudgicle, and Creamsicle are biggest for a nickel. Don't forget that.
Yes, but now let's go on with the amazing adventures of Buck Rogers in the 25th century. In our last episode, you recall, we learned that our old friends, Black Barney and Willie, were the ones who took off in the rocket ship equipped with the new gyrocosmic relativator. And we also know that the arch-criminal, Killer Kane, suddenly appeared there aboard Black Barney's rocket ship. But that last is something that Buck and Wilma and Dr. Hewer don't know. And as we join them, they're simply talking things over in the doctor's laboratory. Shall we join them? Okay, then, here we go. 500 years into the future.
Well, Buck, Wilma?
Yes, Doctor?
At least we know that our rocket plane is in good hands. Yes, and that the new gyrocosmic relativator works all right.
Yes, Barney said when he radioed that he took off at full speed, and that he didn't even feel the pull of acceleration.
Well, as long as he's bringing the plane right down again, hadn't we better go over to the spaceport to meet him?
Not much point in going over right away, is there?
Huh?
It took him some time to fly out to wherever he is, and he won't be able to get back any faster.
Yes, Wilma's right. And we can put in good time right here in my laboratory, finding out what was taken by whoever ransacked it.
Yeah. Well, whoever broke in couldn't have been here very long.
What makes you think that, Buck?
Well, for one thing, there doesn't seem to have been much damage done. A few drawers pulled out on the desks and cabinets, and only a couple of scientific instruments moved from their usual places.
Well, you know what that indicates.
What, Doctor?
Whoever broke in wanted one particular thing.
Yeah.
And didn't have to waste much time in looking for it.
Come to think of it, Doctor, he couldn't have had very much time. It was only a few minutes after we arrived at the spaceport that the captain of the rocket police discovered this had happened.
Exactly. Well, let's look carefully around and find out what, if anything, is missing.
We can certainly be sure of one thing.
What's that?
This was done by Kane and Ardela. No one else would do such a thing.
Yes, and of course they've just escaped from the municipal prison.
Yes, sir. Can't you see what happened? The minute they got out, they realized they'd need equipment. And there was no more logical place for them to try to find it than right here in this laboratory.
Only one of them was here, though, Wilma.
How do you know?
Well, Police Information Bureau said that when they made their break, Kane and Ardela separated.
Uh-huh.
And what's more, a private citizen saw just one person take off in a rocket roadster from the neighborhood of this laboratory.
Buck, could he identify that person?
No, sir, he was too far away. But he's absolutely sure there was only one.
Maybe we aren't right after all.
Huh?
About it being Kane and Ardela. They usually stick pretty close together. And just getting out of prison would be all the more reason for doing so.
Except that one of them might have come here to get something, while the other tried to lay hands on a rocket ship.
Yes.
Well, we're wasting time just standing around here talking about it. Let's look around and see if anything's missing. Buck.
Yes, sir?
Look through that chest there against the wall and make sure that my bound copies of the formula for...
All right, sir.
Wait a minute.
Yes, sir?
The instrument devised by Professor Smith, the mad scientist.
Huh?
The instrument that subjugated people to his willpower when he used it on them.
The psychic restriction ray.
Yes.
Why, it was right over there in that corner, back of where Wilma's standing.
Well, it's not here now.
Well, then we must look for it quickly. An instrument like that in the hands of a man like Kane.
Don't I know it?
Quick, open every cabinet and locker in the place.
Right,
okay,
sir.
Doctor.
With his mad desire for power, why, Kane would use that instrument on everybody he could lay his hands on. No sign of it yet?
Not that I can see, Doctor.
But there must be.
Nothing over here, Doctor.
Well, then suppose you look back in the stockroom, Buck. Perhaps I left the instrument in there.
Yes, sir.
Are you absolutely sure you had it here in your laboratory, Doctor?
Yes, Wilma, absolutely sure. Well, Buck, is it in there?
I'm afraid not, Doctor.
Well, then,
No,
look here.
sir. That's what he took, all right.
Well, listen, what we've got to do. The first thing is to report to the president that we're all ready to set out after Kane and Ardela.
Which, of course, we'll do the minute Black Barney gets our rocket plane back here.
Yes, and we'll need all the information we can get from the rocket police relative to their escape from the municipal prison.
I'll take care of that, Doctor.
And I'll radio the president's office.
Good. We'll go out to the spaceport and meet Barney with our ship.
But, Doctor, is that a good ship for chasing Kane and Ardela?
No, Buck, no. We'll have the gyrocosmic relativator from it installed on a fast-fighting cruiser.
Right. Wilma, the call letters for police information are 413.
Okay, Buck.
Calling X38.
Wilma Deering calling
Buck
413.
Rogers calling X38. Calling X38.
Wilma Deering
Buck
calling
Rogers
413.
calling X38.
Yes, Barney. I can't begin to tell you how nice it is to be with you again.
Say now, you listen here now to me, Killer Kane.
And Willie.
Yes, sir.
Some time since I've seen you, too.
Listen, Kane. What's your idea of stowing away on my rocket ship, huh? If you think you're going to get away with
Stand
it...
back.
But I tell you...
Stand back.
Yeah.
Don't you know by this time that occasionally my trigger finger gets a bit nervous? And, Barney, a rocket pistol isn't very pleasant at this close range.
Please, you wouldn't shoot Mr. Barney, would you?
Of course not, Willie. Unless you were to make the serious mistake of trying to oppose me. Now, look here.
Yeah, well, what do you want?
A minute ago, you spoke of my having stowed away on your rocket ship.
Yeah.
Your rocket ship. Surely you don't pretend that you were clever enough to have installed a device like this?
You mean that gyro thing?
Barney. How many times must you be told that it's a gyrocosmic relativator?
Mr. Barney can say that word, Mr. Kane, and don't you believe he can't either.
Yeah, sure.
Well, the fact remains that neither the ship nor the relativator belongs to you. Am I right?
Well, it's sort of this way.
Don't try to stall, Barney. You and Willie committed a very serious offense by taking off in this ship without proper authority.
When we talked to Dr. Hewer by radio, he said it was all right, Mr. Kane.
Yeah, and all we need to do is fly back with it.
Yes.
Told you it's all right, eh?
Yes, sir.
And when you merrily land at the Central Spaceport, you forget all about the fact that you ran off with the greatest invention he ever turned out. Not one bit of it.
What do you mean?
The minute you set foot on the ground there at the Niagara Spaceport, you will find yourself surrounded by rocket police, ready to throw you into chains.
No, sir. I betcha.
What excuse have you for stealing this rocket ship, Barney?
We didn't. We just took it on a test flight for the gyro thing, so Lieutenant Wilmer, Captain Rogers, and Dr. Ure wouldn't have to take no chances with it.
You expect them to believe a story like that?
It's the truth. That's what it is.
Yes, sir, it's the truth.
Yeah, and I tell you, you're crazy to think that you can get away with any such childish excuse, truth or not. Now, if you have any sense, instead of going back to Niagara to trouble, you come along with me.
Huh?
You know, there was a time, Barney, when you were not only willing, but anxious to work with me. And if I remember correctly, you were always well paid for doing it.
Well, that's the times I want to forget, when I didn't know no better than be an air pirate.
At that time, you had a stronghold full of treasure that would have been the envy of all nations. You had gold, power. You can have those things again, Barney, my boy. If you use your head and come along with Ardela and me.
Don't you know that I've outgrown all that sort of stuff?
That's your misfortune, Barney. As an air pirate, you were quite a success, weren't you?
Yeah, sure I was.
But what happened? You got silly and sentimental listening to Wilman Deering stuff your empty head full of ideas about reforming and going straight.
Hey, don't you say nothing against Lieutenant Wilmer.
Get back.
All right.
And what has it got you? Nothing.
Mr. Barney's the Prime Minister of Mars, don't forget.
Yeah, that's right.
Prime Minister of Mars?
Yeah.
does that make me? King of Pluto?
It's a big job, Mr. Kane. Why, if Mr. Barney wasn't their prime minister, I don't know what the Martian people would do.
Yeah.
You just ask King Analdo what he thinks of Mr. Barney.
Yeah.
That doddering old fool? Why, just to show you how helpless he is, I may go up there to Mars one of these days and establish a headquarters.
Not if I got anything to say about it. No, sir.
No, sir.
You won't have anything to say about it, Barney, unless some sudden and unexpected flash of intelligence leads you to team up with me.
I don't know what you're up to, Kane, and I don't care no matter what it is.
No, Barney?
But no matter what it is, me and Willie ain't gonna have nothing to do with it.
Unfortunately, you're going to change your mind about that, Barney. And very shortly.
You're crazy. There's nothing to make me change my mind about that. Not even nothing.
No, sir.
Well, we'll see. This rocket ship is headed back in the general direction of Earth, isn't it?
Sure. Can't you tell by looking on the viewplate of the teleradioscope or by looking out of one of the forward windows?
No sarcasm, Barney. Move out of that control seat.
No, sir. I'm taking this ship back to the Central Spaceport.
Do I have to keep waving this rocket pistol at you to show you that I mean business?
Okay. Go ahead and sit in the control seat.
On second thought, though, I believe I'll let you do the work of navigation. Now, I want you to land us near the ruins of the ancient city of Philadelphia.
Philadelphia?
There we'll meet Adela. You see, Barney, before she left Niagara, she made a stop at the laboratory of your dear friend, Dr. Hure, and picked up a rather interesting scientific instrument.
What are you talking about?
I have a sneaking suspicion it'll help you come around to my point of view. As a matter of fact, Barney, I'm sure of it.
Well, sir, I certainly hate to hear Kane say that, because it can mean only one thing. Killer Kane plans to put Black Barney under the psychic restriction ray that Ardela stole from Dr. Hure's laboratory. And that ray will completely subjugate Barney to Kane's will. Well, now, Pete, how about some refreshment? What do you say to a great big ice-cold creamsicle on a stick?
Oh, boy. Ice cream in the middle and thick chocolate fudge outside?
That's right. Creamy chocolate fudge or tempting fresh fruit flavors. Take your choice. Creamsicles are all 5 cents. All delicious, nourishing, wholesome. Made fresh every day under the strictest pure food laws and protected by U.S. registered trademarks.
And listen, pals, don't forget to save your creamsicle bags for these wonderful gifts, like a camera, table tennis, a wristwatch, wallet, baseball, sleeping dolls. Get your free illustrated gift list in your ice cream store.
You've been listening to the GSMC Classics series, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Follow us at www.gsmcpodcast.com and find all of our timeless programming by typing GSMC Classics into any podcast app, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and more. Remember to subscribe to the GSMC Classics series podcasts of your choice to stay up to date on new episodes. And if you could take a minute to give us a nice review, that really helps us to get this ageless programming out to others who would enjoy it just as much as you have. Check out all of our GSMC Classics series podcasts. Whether you're in the mood for comedy, romance, adventure, history, science fiction, horror, or anything in between, the GSMC Classics series has you covered. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program on the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network.